Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 times superhero movies were unfaithful to the comics. For this list, we'll be looking at the biggest and boldest changes between these films about costumed heroes and their source material. Since we'll be talking about major storylines, a spoiler warning is in effect. Were these shifts good examples of artistic license or horrible misfires? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Organic Webbing. Spider-Man. Peter Parker is widely accepted as one of the smartest people to become Spider-Man. While his wall-crawling spidey sense and agility are great, his big brain is his most useful asset.
Read all your research on nanotechnology, really brilliant.
And you understood it?
Yes, I wrote a paper on it.
Impressive.
However, director Sam Raimi still didn't think Peter was clever enough for one thing. Although the young Spider-Man typically builds his own web shooters, Tobey Maguire's webhead used organic webs. The director made this change because he was concerned audiences might not buy that Peter could build functioning wrist devices at his age. It's funny that a teen swinging across rooftops after a spider bite was more believable than one building an incredible invention.
Tally-ho.
Fortunately, this all-natural change didn't make Peter feel any less fun to watch. Number 9. Loki and Hela's relationship. Thor Ragnarok. Thor stories like taking tales from Norse mythology and putting a marvelous spin on them. Despite making liberal changes, the comics generally kept the Thor family tree intact. But the movies decided to majorly change Hela's place in Asgard.
Oh, who are you talking about?
Goddess of death, Hela. Her firstborn. Your sister.
Although she's still known as the Goddess of Death, her father is now Odin. In the comics, Hela was actually Loki's daughter. Since the God of Mischief and the Goddess of Death don't spend a whole lot of time together in Ragnarok, it's hard to grasp how much this family tree shakeup changed their dynamic.
I'm Thor, son of Odin.
Really? You don't look like him.
Perhaps we can come to an arrangement.
You sound like him.
It could have been interesting to see them play father and daughter, and if the movie would have been really accurate to the myths, Fenrir would have joined the family reunion as Loki's son. Number 8. Sam Wilson's powers and backstory. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Sometimes it's 100% clear why screenwriters changed something that was in the comics. No one knows that better than Sam Wilson.
You just ran like 13 miles in 30 minutes.
Guess I got a late start.
Really? You should be ashamed of yourself. You should take another lap. Did you just take it? I assume you just took it.
In the source material, Steve Rogers' trusted friend was a man who kept a falcon named Redwing as a pet. After falling foul, pun intended, of Red Skull, Wilson somehow gains the ability to telepathically communicate with birds. He decided to put this strange power to use by fighting crime as the Falcon. The movies cleaned this strange origin story completely by making Sam a former soldier who was given the wings during his service.
I thought you said you were a pilot.
I never said pilot.
The films also completely drops the telepathic powers. For fans who really missed Sam's comic backstory, the MCU made a small compromise by making Redwing a drone.
Don't thank me.
I'm not thinking that thing.
His name is Redwing.
I'm still not thinking it.
Number 7. Barbara Not Gordon? Batman and Robin. There is plenty about Batman and Robin that is worthy of derision. We could go on and on about the over-the-top costumes, Bat credit card, and hokey dialogue.
It's a utility belt, not a money belt. 6 million.
7 million. Never leave the cave without it.
However, the most distracting change involved Barbara. She's typically the daughter of Commissioner Gordon throughout most Batman media. Growing up with him as her dad usually helps motivate her to become Batgirl down the line. So it was baffling to see Barbara's last name change to Wilson and learn she was Alfred Pennyworth's niece in Batman and Robin.
Uncle Alfred!
Oh, my dear.
Oh, my dear, what a most wonderful surprise.
While this switch-up serves some parts of the story, it does nothing to make her character more interesting. Making Barbara a Wilson is something that should have been tossed out at first draft of this infamous film.
Suit me up, Uncle Alfred.
Number 6. Drax the Human, Guardians of the Galaxy. It turns out that Drax the Destroyer wasn't always an alien.
You know who I am, yes?
You're Drax, the Destroyer.
In the comics, he was originally a human named Arthur Douglas whose life changed when he went on a drive with his family. When Thanos attacked the car, the man lost his wife and his daughter was taken from him. Arthur's soul was then put into an alien body in the hopes that he would slay the Mad Titan. While the way he became Drax the Destroyer was undoubtedly tragic, it might have been a little too weird for general audiences to accept.
Ronan the Accuser! You are the one who transmitted the message. You killed my wife. You killed my daughter!
The first Guardians kept the part of his backstory where he loses his family without the soul transferring. At least casting the muscle-bound Dave Bautista made the live-action character look comic accurate.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with the walking thesaurus on that one.
Do not ever call me a thesaurus.
Number 5. Ultron's Creation, Avengers Age of Ultron. When the MCU named Ultron as the next big bad after Loki, fans went wild.
Ultron. In the flesh. Or no, not yet. Not this chrysalis.
The comic book version of the android was certainly a match for the might of the newly assembled Avengers. However, the way they intended to introduce Ultron raised a few eyebrows.
Aw, Junior. You're gonna break your old man's heart.
If I have to.
In the source material, the evil robot is created by Hank Pym, aka Ant-Man. The inventor and machine's complex relationship was the heart of many fascinating and thought-provoking stories. But the MCU didn't plan to introduce this hero until after Age of Ultron debuted. Age of Ultron got around this issue by having Tony Stark and Bruce Banner build the AI.
I don't want to hear the man was not meant to meddle medley. I see a suit of armor around the world.
Sounds like a cold world, Tony.
I've seen colder. This one, this very vulnerable blue one, it needs Ultron.
While this change was necessary, it came at the cost of Pym and Ultron's historic relationship. Number 4. Will the real Mandarin please stand up? Iron Man 3. What happens when you take an Academy Award-winning actor and a character who has an extensive comic book history and put them in a twist that no one sees coming?
I consider myself a teacher.
America. Ready for another lesson?
Well, you get a generally mixed opinion. For the majority of Iron Man 3, Ben Kingsley's Mandarin was a scary dude. It seemed like Tony Stark was facing a threat he couldn't overcome, until it turned out that the villain was a bloke called Trevor.
What are you? What are you, decoy? You're a double, right?
Well, I mean, not an study. No, absolutely not. Don't hurt the face. I'm an actor.
What made the reveal that he was fake even more controversial is that antagonist Aldrich Killian claims he was the Mandarin too.
No more false faces. You said you wanted the Mandarin. You're looking right at him. It was always me, Tony. Right from the start. I am the Mandarin!
After all these plot points divided fans, Marvel revealed there was definitely a real Mandarin out there. Number 3. Not Our Doomsday. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. After the Caped Crusader and the Last Son of Krypton had their title match, Lex Luthor started another fight.
Man won't kill God.
2, 1.
The devil will do it.
He used Kryptonian technology and DNA to create the hulking Doomsday. However, this is quite the departure from the source material. Luthor typically has nothing to do with a monster that's infamous for slaying the Man of Steel. Doomsday was originally a genetically engineered Kryptonian creature originally called the Ultimate. After this monster lands on Earth, Booster Gold dubs the villain Doomsday. Despite Batman v Superman stepping away from this story, there are still hints of the creature's origins in the movie. The computer Lex uses suggests someone else may have created a being like Doomsday before. Is there another terrifying creature waiting in the DCEU?
It has been decreed by the Council of Krypton that none will ever again give life to a deformity.
Number 2. Taskmaster's personality, Black Widow. 2021's Black Widow allowed audiences the opportunity to say farewell to Natasha Romanoff with her own solo film. It also promised to finally give comic fans a live-action version of the Taskmaster. In the comics, Tony Masters is a dangerous foe because he can mimic the abilities of other heroes. He's also known for his brash and cocky personality. While the movie kept the Taskmaster's ability to copy techniques, Antonia Dreykov was under the mask this time around. Her version of the character was much more serious and didn't have a distinctive personality. While Antonia's version of the villain worked within the Black Widow story, fans were disappointed that this Taskmaster didn't have the charisma they were expecting.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Is it God?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Dark Knight's One Rule. A ton of live-action Batman films. Everyone knows that the Dark Knight makes a point of not assassinating any of his opponents. He fears that if he crosses that line and takes a life, he'd potentially be just as bad as the criminals he fights in Gotham.
Oh, then that's the rule you'll have to break to know the truth.
Although this character trait is a huge part of the Batman mythos, screenwriters often seem to forget about his one rule. In the Christian Bale films, there are instances where he literally gets away with murder by indirectly creating fatal situations.
You finally learn to do what is necessary. I won't kill you. But I don't have to see.
We saw Keaton's Dark Knight smile while disposing of a goon in Batman Returns. And Ben Affleck's Caped Crusader clearly had no problems with taking lives in 2016. Hopefully, we'll see Pattinson stick to Batman's big rule.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.